Good morning. We're back. Can you believe it? I don't know how we got to day 8. I just feel like the time has flown. And I am just so excited that you are starting to feel the energy, that pain is starting to stop being so intense, and maybe even starting to dissipate, and you're recognizing, wow, I'm getting it. I'm feeling good. All right. This is what Callie Ray was talking about. So today you're going to notice I gave you a link to outside resources. Okay. It's time to start thinking about the ongoing. What's your ongoing plan? Well, good morning, Mel. Good morning. So anyway, you gotta love it. What about life after Supercharge, right? The whole point of Supercharge is to give you that taste of what living WOW feels like. And then we talked about getting plugged into the community, right? So that you can continue to get the information and the inspiration, all of the different things that will help counteract that sad culture that we live in, and that's just a part of our everyday life. We're not gonna be able to eliminate sad life, because that is our culture here in the United States and most of the Western world. So really, it's a choice of how are you going to and do you want to, right? There's a point, and I don't know if you will reach it on this particular Supercharge, because it's different for everybody. But there comes a point, and I talked about it before, where you've come so far that you recognize, you start to see the power of nutrition, and even larger, the power of lifestyle. And it's like, I can't go back to sad because I've lived WOW. And it feels so good to feel good that I can't settle for survival. I can't. And so I hope that you get to that point. But then, the questions to start asking yourself in the next 3 days as we start to wrap up Supercharge is, what next? Okay. What, is it the lack of gluten? Is it the lack of dairy? Is it the lack of sugar and processed foods? What is it? Or what combination? What is it that you cut out? Maybe it was the alcohol or the caffeine. What is it that you cut out? My hunch is it's a combination of those. And as we allow our body to detoxify, right, you can start to add things back in. But I caution. I would personally recommend that you've got tools now, right? You've got menus. You realize that it's not expensive. It doesn't taste disgusting or boring or bland. All of the things that the beliefs that we put in our head from that sad narrative about healthy lifestyle. So what are some substitutions? Maybe instead of alcohol, it's kombucha. Maybe instead of caffeine, it's some herbal teas or some smoothies. Okay. Maybe instead of dairy, it's non-dairy, right? It's nut milks, or it's instead of processed, it's more the caution with gluten and dairy, with substitutions of things like the gluten and the dairy, is that this didn't used to be an issue, but we now have so many processed options. But remember the processed food. Remember what we talked about. Remember the necessity of the whole food matrix. So that's not just with supplements and vitamins that we, the synthetic, the isolated, it doesn't work in our body the same way as the synergistic whole food matrix does, right? The same is true. So what I encourage is for you to develop that taste and find those substitutions that are natural substitutions, not convenience substitutions, right? Just be cautious of that, because it's really easy to go, oh, there's gluten-free buns, there's gluten-free pizza, there's dairy-free, tofurkey. Just be cautious, because a lot of the stuff that they put in to give it the texture, to give it a lot of it is texture and taste to try and simulate that. So if you add back in some dairy, just make sure it's whole raw dairy, okay? That it's going to be, and it's occasionally, because once your gut is healed, those, what typically happens, not always, but usually those the allergic reactions, the sensitivities will start to dissipate as the gut is healed. So this strict, restricted diet that you feel like you've given up all of these things, which again, I encourage you, rather than give them up, find an alternative, and find a whole alternative. That's why I say, kombucha or an herbal tea, because generally those tend to be less, they tend to be more whole. Okay. So again, with Living Well, we're really focused on abundance. We're focused on putting in so much good that there's no room for the bad. We're not worried about the bad. We're not counting calories. We're not restricting everything. We're being mindful and aware of what we're putting in our mouth, in our mind, and in our heart. And as we're being mindful of that, we're trying to make the better choice. Okay. So it's not villainizing anything. It's just recognizing what supports your body and what doesn't, right? Premium gasoline is not morally better than standard grade. It's just not. But so again, I want you to look at it as an objective choice rather than a moral thing. It's not good or bad. It's not right or wrong. It's just a step above. It's a healthier choice. It's a better support to your body, right? So as the next 3 days, I want you to start, of course, plug in the cat. Plug in to to the community. Okay, plug into the resources, and start to identify for you what's important to you. What are you wanting to make sure? Okay, I really miss dairy because I really like dairy. Okay, so what are some recipes that you can use it as a sprinkle? Our favorite in our house is Parmesan. So we'll grate some fresh Parmesan over whatever, and it gives you that flavor, and but you're not having a half a brick of cheese, which historically I would do because I love cheese. So again, how do you modify your lifestyle to have it be sustainable and to still support your gut? So again, I recommend 30 days to continue that anti-inflammatory diet. Okay, if you're dealing with pain, if you're dealing with poor energy, then you are likely dealing with gut dysbiosis. Okay, and if you're dealing with gut dysbiosis for whatever reason, the 30-day elimination diet, the 30-day cleanse, the 30-day support, whatever you want to call it, but it's really just focusing on clean, whole foods and eliminating all of those inflammatory foods. That's the red meats. The pork is also very inflammatory as a meat. Meat in general is more inflammatory than produce because produce is chock full of antioxidants, right? So increasing your fruits, vegetables, dairy, berries, not dairy, fruits, vegetables, berries, nuts, seeds, legumes, all of those things that bring that nutritional profile, okay? And working them in as you can, all right? You noticed over the last 8 days, the foods, like after you ate something, what felt really, really good and what didn't make a difference and what was like, I did not like that. I don't want to eat that again. Okay, that's fair. make a mental note of that, right? What did you really, really focus on? What you really, really like. The stuff that you didn't like or you don't want to have again, try it again in a month. I mentioned, I don't know if sometime this week, I mentioned that initially I did not like ferments at all. I didn't care for sauerkraut, the kombucha. I hated kombucha. It was gross to me. And it was because my microbiome was rejecting those things. My microbiome wanted dairy, wanted sugar, wanted the things that was feeding that dysbiosis. And so once I cleaned that out, I started to realize, and my body started telling me the foods that were supportive to my body rather than that imbalance. Okay, so today is really about just starting to think what's the long game going to look like. Let's start with the 30 days. Okay, how are we going to finish out this next 20 days of this month? We're going to finish Supercharge on the 10th. We'll do some assessments to kind of look and see how are you feeling and what were your takeaways. And then what about the next 20 days? Do you want to do that 20 days as a continuation of Supercharge? Do you want to have some one-on-one, some help, how do I interpret what I'm feeling? I'm starting to feel it, and let's take it to the next level. Then reach out and let me know. In the Living Wow Center, there you can go in and you can get your free consultation to talk over that and decide what is your plan. Okay, do you want to do an assessment? Do you want to just focus on the nutrition? Do you want to go bigger, go broader? Okay, so those are the things to start thinking about today. Start really kind of starting your inventory of what's working, what's not, what do you miss, how can you replace it? But the biggest thing, the most important thing is don't lose the momentum that you're gaining in this 10 days. Your body is designed to heal, and it's amazing what it can do in 10 days when we give it the environment to do so. So imagine if it can do that in 10 days, what can it do in 30 days? What can it do in a month or in 3 months? What can it do in a year? Right? And in my case now, I've been through 2 transformations, and it's amazing. It feels really good to feel good and to replicate that. So I want you to feel that that health that I've been able to, I was so hopeless and just felt trapped in my body and betrayed by my body and just stuck. And I don't want you to feel that. I want you to feel the hope. I want you to feel the energy. I want you to feel the healing. And I just don't want you to give up. So how are you going to continue this journey? How are you going to continue living wow so that you can thrive with your autoimmune diseases? Okay, that's your thought, your homework, if you will, for the day. And I'll be back and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.